Hello, hello. How's it going, everyone? I see there's one person in chat. I think that's Zeta Map. He says, I recognize that puzzle. Yeah, it's should. You should recognize that puzzle, I hope. Hello, Niverio. Hello, Nell. Yeah, my cat needs some attention today, I guess. Very, very needy this morning. He was hiding behind the TV, screaming, and he never does that. The other cat does that all the time. Now he wants that off. He wants to sit on the desk. So he will be here. Oh god. Trying to make sure hairs don't get in my water. He will be here, but just behind the camera, working the keyboard and mouse, of course, and making sure that all the puzzles are solved correctly. I've just realized that I'm missing a line of the rules. So that's cool. Let me add that in before we continue. Guess we have to make this a little bit smaller then. That's not good. It's even smaller than before. Can you guys read the rules there? Or is it too small? Okay, you can read it just fine. Okay, good. Well, let's get started then. So today we have a puzzle by Zeta Math to start, and this puzzle... Oh, yay. Tristan plugged me on the Puzzle Plaza. Today we have a puzzle by Zeta Math, and this puzzle was very, very low-key, like incredibly low-key, inspired by some work we did in the settings stream, in which we accomplished nothing. But we accomplished inspiring this, I guess. And I think it was because we were using Schrodinger cells, and then Zeta Math said, well, instead of using Schrodinger cells, why don't you just add one cell in every row, column, and box that is, I think he said 10 plus that value. And I didn't really like that idea as much, but he has taken that idea and doubled them instead of adding 10. High key, okay. Nice. High key. But he's taken those and doubled them, which, honestly, if he had suggested that during the stream, I might have actually done that, because it sounds really cool. And I've thought about a few things to do with that since he's brought this up, because this was set when I was on vacation, so I was thinking about this a little bit when, yeah, absolutely works better than adding 10. It's less extreme for sure, and there's more variation to what's happening. What was I saying? I was thinking about this when I was on vacation, because obviously I couldn't stream solve this when I was on vacation, but I was thinking about this a bit, and I was like, oh, there's some really cool things you can do with this. But I'll probably just wait and solve the puzzle, because there's probably some cool things that have been done in this puzzle. In these 6 puzzles, actually, we have 6 puzzles in here. These 6 puzzles, there's probably something cool in here that I didn't even think about, and probably some things that I did think about that are obvious. And I can't even remember what I did think about, so... Alright, so which should we start with? I think, oh, well, we should start by explaining the rules. So this is normal 6x6 rules for each of these little grids here. So that each row, column, and box has the digits 1 to 6. Once each normal black white dot rules, so that means that these two cells have to be consecutive, these two cells have to have a ratio of 1 to 2. Normal XV rules, so that means these two cells have to add to 10, these two cells have to add to 5, and the same is true for all the other V's and white dots and black dots and stuff. Oh, you did? To be published. Oh, cool. With between lines. Interesting. Huh. That sounds cool. Anyways. Normal arrows, so that means that this cell, if that's a 4, then these have to add to 4, so they could be 1 and 3, or they could be double 2. It's totally fine to repeat things on arrows. And then in this one, it's Renban. So Renban is a set of consecutive digits that are non-repeating. So if we put a 1 here, we'd have to fill this with 2 and 3, because that's the only way to make a consecutive sequence with 1 on it, of course, with non-repeating digits, of course. These 5 digits would have to be from like a string of consecutive digits. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or whatever like that. And they can be in any order. They don't have to go in order. So they could be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is completely out of order, or whatever order you want them to be in. German whispers, so these have to be at least 5 different. So if I put a 1 here, I could put at least a difference of so in normal 6x6, you would normally do German whispers where it's like, what is it, difference of 3, I think, normally. But in this puzzle, it says that the German whispers require a difference of at least 5, like a normal 9x9 grid, which is usually really hard because the only set of digits which is a difference of 5 is 1 and 6, without using the extra rule that we're going to get to. And then killer cages, the digits in the cage sum to the clue in the top left corner without repetition, but we don't have to worry about repetition because these are all in rows and columns, so they won't repeat anyways. So this could be 1, 2, 4, for example. I feel like this grid is lagging a little bit for some reason, but it's okay. We'll make do. Now what else is there? Right, the other thing. So the other thing is that in each grid, one cell in every row, in every column, and every box contains a doubler. So for the purposes of all the clues, oh, nice. Is it in CTC testing, Zeta, or is it in private testing? Like, is it in private testing like Tristan and stuff? Oh, nice. I'll take a look at it after this. Well, I'll take a look at it as in, I'll look at it. I don't know if I'll solve it. But anyways, what was I saying? Right, doublers. So doublers are basically double the value for their cell. So if we had a 3 here, for example, then we could put a 1 here if it was a doubler, because these would be consecutive if this was 2 times 1, which would be 2 instead of 1, and 2 is consecutive with 3. Similarly, if we had 2 here, we could put an 8 here, because this could be double 2, which is 4. And 4 is consecutive, is a ratio of 1 to 2 with 8. Hey, Clark. Hey, Clarky. We're not going behind TG again. Okay? I think I think he needs more attention. Anyways, so we need doublers in every row, column, and box. And it says that no 2 of these 6 puzzles contain doublers in the same cell, which is very interesting. So there's more than just 6 puzzles here. It's a whole puzzle itself. which does seem very interesting because that means that it's almost like disjoint sets because there are 6 puzzles and six cells in each box. So if this is a doubler in this box, in this puzzle, then none of these cells could also be doublers. So that means that in this box, each of the cells in this box will have to sort of have a doubler in one of the puzzles, which is kind of like disjoint sets, but like a weird multi-puzzle disjoint sets. Might be hard to scan, but we'll get there. There are no 8s, right? There's no 8s in 6x6, but yes, absolutely, that's true. Hello, Mathfesto. Welcome, everyone. All right, I think that's all the things. So we should get going here. I'm curious, ZetaMath, how long did testers usually take with this puzzle? Like, is it a long puzzle, or is it not that long? I mean, not that long as in like divide the number by 6, essentially. All right, so I think, where do I want to start? I want to maybe 60 to 180 minutes for solid solvers. Interesting. Okay, so we should probably be able to do this in a couple hours, probably. Yeah, really wide ranges, I believe it. Okay. So I think I want to start with the German whispers because it is a difference of 5, which is insane in this scenario, right? I'm gonna quickly set up my Pimple light here to allow me to color and do Sudoku. And I think that's all we need to do is color and do Sudoku. We don't need the lines or anything. So we're going to color the cells which are not doublers as blue. 1 second, my cat really needs attention, so he's opening the closet right now. I told him he can go see his mom if he really needs attention. Anyways, so what do we know about a German whispers line in a 6x6 grid? Well, if it's a real German whispers line where it has to be difference of 5, then the only combination we can do without doublers is 1 and 6. Those are the only 2 numbers in a 6x6 grid, which are 5 apart. So on, say, this line, where there's 3 cells on the line, we have to use a doubler on here, or we're going to run out of 1s and 6s. We could do a 6 and then a 1, but we're going to use another 6 here. So we're going to have to use a doubler in that 3-cell thing, and we're going to use brown to denote non-doublers. I think brown and green might be a good... That vibes with me, brown and green. I don't know why, but if that doesn't vibe with you, then please tell me. Okay, so brown and green. Now, the other thing I'm curious about... Okay. Okay, maybe we'll just use the same thing as the setter because I don't want him to get confused. Brown and green does have a forest theme. We'll use brown for doubler. I don't know why. I don't have a reason why, but green and purple. Well, I'll use green and brown because I don't want to like follow you around completely, but I'll cater to you a little bit. If I get confused, I'll change it. Okay, so now the next question I have is, if this cell, for example, is... Oh, actually, wait. I think I've answered my own question. If a cell is next to a doubler, then what values can it hold? I think it can hold quite a few values, can't it? Because if I have a double 6, right? That's 12, and every single other digit is at least 5 away from 12. So that's not very helpful. But in this column, there can only be one digit which is next to a doubler. But every other digit is either a doubler itself or it's not next to a doubler. I think. Or it could be next to a doubler in the other column, in this column. But what I mean to say is that there are two cells in this column which are next to cells along the line which are not doublers. For example, this cell, well, let's just say that this one was a doubler, right? Then this cell would be next to a doubler, and this cell would be a doubler. But these two cells would be next to each other and both not be doublers. So there are two cells in the column which are next to non-doublers. And that applies wherever I put that brown cell. And that means that those two cells which are next to cells which are not doublers must be 1 and 6. Because if you're next to a cell which is not a doubler, you must be a 1 or 6 in a 6x6 group. What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, doesn't that mean that either this is a 1-6 pair or that this is a 1-6 pair? I think that's what that means. But if this is a 1-6 pair, well, we'll need a doubler on here for sure, right? Because we can't use 1 or 6. Wait, I said that wrong. If you are not a doubler and you are next to a cell which is not a doubler, then you must be 1 or 6. That's what I meant to say. I was implying that first part, but I need to actually state that. So if there is a 1 or 6 up here, then there's no 1 and 6 here. And there is a doubler on here then. So there couldn't be a doubler here, so there would have to be a doubler here. Ah, but then there'd be a doubler here and here, which would mean there's no doubler in here. Or wait, could this be 1 and 6? Could this have no doubler on it? I don't think so, right? If there's a 1-6 pair in here, this is not a 1 or 6, so this must be, this must have a doubler on it. Because if it didn't have a doubler, it would need to both be 1 and 6. Right. So I think that means this can't be 1-6. 1 second. My cat is so annoying. You're being a brat. Sorry about that. I locked him in the room because he is just being a brat constantly. Oh, and my fiance is in the room, so don't worry about him. Like, he's not deprived of cuddles. He has many cuddles in there. Anyways, so I think what we were saying was that if we use up our 1 and 6 here, then we need doublers on both of these lines. But if we had doublers on both of these lines, then there would be no doubler in here. But we know there's a doubler in here. So that cannot be true. This must be a 1-6 down here. And that means that this is not a doubler, because if it was a doubler, then this would be impossible to fill, because it would also need to be 1-6. So there is a doubler in one of these two cells, which means there's not a doubler in any of these two cells, which means that these two cells are a 1-6 pair as well. what else does that mean? Oh, there's hair everywhere now. What else does that mean? Now, does that mean that box 5, row 3? I'm just going to follow row 3, column 2 has to be a doubler, this one? Oh yes, otherwise this would be a 1-6 pair, right? If this line does not have a doubler on it, then it must be a 1-6. We know that already. So it must have a doubler on it because it can't be a 1-6 because that would leave this cell with no value. So it must have a doubler on it, and that doubler means that there is no doubler in here or in here, so there is a doubler down here. I mean, there's no doubler in here, and actually there's no doubler in here, and let's just go around the grid and fill in these two cells as not being doublers, because we will probably forget that at some point. Okay. So now there's like hair all over my hand. It's been like 2 minutes since I touched the cat, and I already sort of threw my hands around a little bit. Okay. So this cell is not a doubler, and it's next to a 1 or 6. Which means it has to be a 1 or 6 itself, right? If this wasn't a 1 or 6, then it wouldn't be 5 away from that. So this must be a 1 or 6. Now, one of these two also must be a 1 or 6 because it will be not a doubler, because there can only be one doubler in this row, and it will be next to a 1 or 6 on the line. But can both of these be 1 or 6? Can neither of these be doublers is the other sort of thing to think about. I was trying to use a big word, but I am an idiot. So I think these two cells cannot be doublers, because if we don't have a doubler in either of these two cells, or in both of these two cells, then they would both have to be 1 and 6, and that would leave this cell with no option. So I think one of these two cells is a doubler. Now I'm wondering about these two cells, because if I made this cell not a doubler, right, then it would be next to a 1 or 6 on the line, so it would have to be a 1 or 6, but it can't be a 1 or 6 because there's 1 and 6 in its column. So this one is actually the doubler that we are looking for, and there are no doublers in those two cells. And this cell is next to a 1 or 6 on the line, so it must be a 1 or 6 itself. And we can fill in that this cell in all the puzzles is not a doubler. So far, this is really nice. What do we do next, though? The other puzzle that looks suspicious is this puzzle with the X's and, with the X's and V's, because there's only one way to make 10 in a 6x6. It's 4 and 6. Okay, awesome. Good. If I didn't go there, it would probably be, I would probably think the puzzle's much worse. Jokes, of course. But the only places I see that the X sees each other is in these places. So this X sees both of these X's. Well, sort of. I mean, it sees this cell, which means that if this is a 4 or 6, this couldn't be a 4 or 6. Hypothetically, if we did the Renban first. I'm pretty sure the Renban isn't constricted at all until we get the doublers in there. Because the doublers are going to basically push values up, so then we're almost like if we had a 1 on a line and it was doubled, then that means that there couldn't be a 2 on the line. Could the 2... Actually, wait. If we had a double 1 on the line, and then we had another 1 on the line, could I put like a 3 here? Like if I had double 1, 1, and 3, would that work? Or is that repeating the digit? Because you could never get a 7, that's true. That is true. Sounds like a Renman to me, okay. I was just wondering, because I'm, like, I think there's different ways you could see that. The rules say you can make a 2-cell A cage with a 4 and a double 2, so... No, but that... Oh, yeah, true. So it could repeat... Right, okay, so it could repeat its... Oh, wait. No, that's sort of the opposite, almost. That's kind of weird that a 4 and a double 2 could work together, because that would sort of repeat the value of 4 in the cage. But in the Renban case, it's repeating the non-value, but the digit value. I don't know. This is weird. Anyways, that's neither important nor relevant. Let's continue with the puzzle. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll add in some shapes here because I want to just quickly label up. I want to quickly label up that. I definitely don't want that to be white. That this cell and this cell are the same cell, or the same digit. And I think I just want to disable shape after that because I want to remember that. I don't want to color it. But then I was thinking maybe when we get into here, because one of these two is the circle one. So once we get into here, we can sort of look at this, I guess. Or I guess that's not really relevant. Although, wait, this one and this one are the same though. And that means that in here, that's the 1 or 6. Yeah. True. You made the killer cages all so they can't actually contain repeated digits, so you don't have to think about whether the value is the value or the digit value or... Yeah. I totally understand why you would do that. Oh wait, this value... Oh, this is not circle. So this is circle. Ah, okay, so I'll turn back on shape because I need to draw that... Crap. No. Where did my panel go? I can't draw the shape anymore. It's okay. It's okay. We'll just remember, so we know that this is circle. So then in this box, circle is in this cell. So these 4 cells are the circle one. And in here, the circle one is in one of these 2 cells. And in here, the circle one is in one of these 2 cells. So this value is the same as this value, so that value goes down here. And over here. Okay, so we don't know anything about that yet. Because this could be a doubler. Actually, one of these 2 does have to be a doubler. Because this can't be a 1 or 6. Oh, wait. If this wasn't a doubler, then it would need to be a 1 or 6 because it's next to this cell. Ah, okay, so this is a doubler. But that doesn't mean that this couldn't be a doubler. Because this could be like double 2, and this could be like double 5. And 4 and 10 are definitely 10 different. Hello, Canty. Welcome to chat. Oh, but also, we need to green these two, and we need to green that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. I'm sure this is the content you came for, is me just saying that one repeatedly. Okay, back to puzzle. I'm not sure if we can really get a handle on these because again, the doubler could be almost any value. Well, I guess, could the doubler ever be 2 if this cell can't be a 1 or 6? Actually, this one is interesting. This one is interesting. Because if this one was... Oh no, 4 would work. 4 or 5 works, right? Because, yeah, 4 or 5 definitely works here. Because 4 would be 8, and then 8 could go next to 2 and 3. Because, yeah, because they're both 5 different from 8 at least. But 5 would be 10. Oh, could this also be 6? Yes, it could also be 6. Crap. So this could be a 4 or even a 5. Yeah, okay, so we don't know much about that at all. Although if this was 2, 3, then this would be 4, 5. Is that okay? Oh, only if it goes 5 and 4. Right, okay. Which would make this a 4, because this would be a 4 in the 2, 3 example. I guess this could be 6, and this could still be 2, 3, but yeah. That would be okay as well. So, 2... No. What about 5? If 5 goes saying that one repeatedly... Yeah, exactly. That one AMR, SAMR. I'm thinking about 5 on a non-doubler cell on a line that is next to a doubler. So if we did 5 on the line, then we would need 6 in the other cell. So that means that 5 can't go in either of these two cells. So 5 in this box is in one of these two cells. And we should probably just move on to a different puzzle now, because I don't think we're getting anything here. So, different puzzle. Which puzzle should we look at? So how many 1 to 2 ratios are there in a 6x6? There's 1, 2, there's 2, 4, and there's 3, 6. So there is actually 3 different possibilities. But 5 is not a part of any of them. And 5 can't be doubled to give you something that would be on a black dot. And nothing that would be doubled could go with 5. Because 10 and 0 is still not going to be any doubled value. So I think this has to be a 5. And that would probably be an easy way to start the puzzle if I didn't try to do all this stuff. But it's fine either way. I guess that means 5 is down here, but 5 can go in either of these cells, it's fine. Although, do we know this is not a doubler? I don't think we do. If I try to double something in here, I could do double 1 with 4. That's it, isn't it? That's the only real use of it. Everything else is like not going to work with anything. Because double... Yeah, otherwise you'd be repeating a digit, because double 3 could go with 3, but of course you can't repeat the 3 in the column or row. So I think 1, 4 is the only new... Yeah, Ambrose says it. And 1, 4 is the only new black dot relationship, and the 1 would have to go on the black... on the... Well, obviously on the black dot, but on the doubling cell. So what does that mean? That means that if there is a doubler cell in this column that is not on the 5, then it goes with a 1, 4 combination. A 1, 4 combination would rule out a 2, 4, which would mean the other combination at least that sees the entire thing, would have to be 3, 6, and then this would have to be a 2, 4. Which means that this is never a doubling cell. Because if this is a doubling cell, right here, that would have to be a 1. This would have to be a 4. This would be a 3, 6, of course, and then this would be a 2, 4, which is not going to work because these are both in the same region, and I just realized that because I realized that doubling cell would put a 4 here, and then it would also put a 4 here. So I know that this cell, at least, is not a doubling cell. I know that's very minor, but 2, 1? In row... Oh, 2, 1. Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you could just do 2, 1. With 2 here and 1 here. So this could be a doubling cell if this was 1, 4, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I realize this now. Although that does give problems with this, doesn't it? But that's a little bit too far for me. I mean, this really does nothing, really. So maybe we'll just ignore that for now. Perhaps this is not the puzzle to start with. Although I do like that we got this 5. Okay, maybe we'll go over to here, because this cell can't be doubled, and it's the sum of 3 non-repeating digits. Hello, the Kagisho. I don't know why I have to do some kind of like Fourier transform to understand names in chat when I just know the people. So what I'm trying to say is that these 3 digits are distinct, right? So the minimum they are is 1, 2, 3. And if we double anything in there, that's just making the situation worse. We're going to have a higher total. But 1, 2, and 3 add up to 6, which is the absolute minimum of this cell because it can't be a doubling cell, which means that all of these cells are non-doubling cells and that this is a 6 because that's the minimum we can put into it, and that's the minimum we can put into this. And then that means that these 2 cells are 4 and 5. This is obviously a 6 arrow, so it's 1, 2, 4, 5. Which means something about if this is a 4, 5, if this is the 4, 5 that goes on here, then the 1, 2 that goes over here is over here, I guess. It's kind of a weird situation thing. Okay, this is a 4, 5 though. And one of these 2 is doubled. Oh, that's interesting. One of these 2 is doubled, which means that let's say that we try to minimize that situation. Well, then let's look at this cell. If this cell was minimum of what it could be a 4 that's... Oh wait, we could do a 4 that's not double, but if it is a brown cell, then it would be a 4 at minimum. But a 4 in this cell, doubled, is already 8. Is already 8. But 8 is too much for this cell to ever do, even before we add in this cell. And we can't make this a doubling cell because it's in the same column as this one. So in fact, what we have to do is we have to make this one the doubling cell, and we have to make this one also a doubling cell because it's not in the same column as this one. And that's the only way that's going to work. So we can green a bunch of things. And then we can go through the other puzzles and green those things. This one, and this one, this one, and this one. Is that all of them? Yes. I've just noticed that we have greened these 2, right? Which means that the only combination they can be is 4, 6. And then this one can't be a 4, 6, so this digit has to be a doubling cell because it can't be the only combination that it would be if it's both green and this cell is already green. So it must be that cell which is doubled. And let me think about the combinations there because I don't think there's very many combinations. at 11, someone is coming to fix my fridge, which is broken right now. You have now made it to as far as I made it in setting this in my head. Oh, wow, okay. You set this in your head. That's pretty cool. Or at least this little part. That's pretty cool. At least you didn't make any mistakes like I did. Let me just respond to my landlord. So I'll have to take a break at 11 when they come. But until then, I can continue streaming. And I will probably come back, I'm not sure. So let's see here. So this can't be a 1 because then this would have to be an 8. Can be a 2 if this is a 6. This can be a 3 if this is a 4. And I don't think it can be anything else, because if it was a 4, this would have to be... Oh, this could be a 2 then. Oh, but this can't be a 4 because there's a 4 in the box. Dumb, dumb, dumb. Oh, but wait. This also means that these two cells see this cell, so this can't be a 4-6 combination, so it must have a doubling cell in it. So these cells can't be doubling cells. Oh, actually, we can green these, and then we can also green that cell, that cell, that cell. Yes. I probably would have pencil marked that if I was setting too, because I always miss things when I'm setting. Things that I wouldn't miss when I'm solving, I mean. I don't think it means that this cell has to be the doubling cell, though, unless... Oh, no, it does. No, it doesn't. The only way this is not the doubling cell is if this is 4... Or, sorry, wait. Yeah, 4 and 2. With an 8 here, with a doubled 4 here, with this 2 here. That's the only way that this is a doubling cell. Otherwise, this is a doubling cell, and this is 2, 3 with 4, 6. So I think these are the only options here, but we don't know which one is the doubling cell, which is kind of weird. And it's not even like 2 goes with 6. 2 can go with either 4 or 6, but 3 only goes with 4. Oh, but this 2, 3... Wait, let's think about this carefully, because is this 2, 3 even correct? Something I'm missing here, because that means that these two cells can't be a 2, 3 pair, and they can't have a 4 in them. So they have to have a doubler in them, don't they? I think they have to have a doubler in them. So that means that these are not doublers, which means that this is a doubler. That's really weird. So this is a 4, and this is a 2. Looks useful. Oh, this is also seeing a 2, 3. So this is a 1, 4. Right. Okay, so this is a 6. Thank you, Ambrose. I completely missed that. So this must be a 2. Now this now is either a 1, 3 with the 1 doubled. Yeah, that's what it is, because either it's a 1, 3 or it's a 1, 4 with, or sorry, no, it's a 1, 2 with the 2 doubled. But it can't be a 1, 2 because the 2 is seen in the column. So that means that this V can't have a 1 on it. Which means if it's normal, it has to be a 2, 3. And if it's not normal, then it has to be a 2, 3. Wait, yeah, it can't be anything because the only thing you can double is 1. Or 2, but the doubled 2 would have to go with a 1 to be doubled 2 plus 4. Or wait, double... I'm getting that wrong. Double 2 plus 1. Doubler V needs a 1. That's a good way of saying it. Yes. Okay, so that means that there's 3s in here as well. So in these cells, there are no 1s and there are no 3s. So the other digits are 2, 4, 5, and 6. Oh my word. That's not what I meant to do. That is not at all what I meant to do. 2, 4, 5, 6. And I'm doing that just because I can eliminate a lot of those possibilities here. I think. Maybe not a lot. No, not very many at all. But we can make lots of progress now. Probably. We can call them W. double V. No. No. Oh, there's a 6 in one of these two cells, which is kind of interesting. We need 2 6s in these 2 rows, and we need 2 5s in these 2 rows as well. There's definitely a 1 in one of these 2 cells. There's definitely 3 and 5 in the other cells. This is a 3 5 as well. Oh, this digit is a 5. I don't know how I missed that. So that's not a 5. So this is a 2 4 1, but it can't be a 1 because there's a 1 in here. Oh, there could be a 3, couldn't it? Yeah, it could be a 3. I don't know how I missed that. I was going to say it gives us a 2 4 pair, but it clearly does not. Huh. Okay, well, anyways. Hello, solid void. I wonder if you can hear my cat meowing in the background. These 2 cells are not doubled, and they see a 2, so they must be a 1 4. So this must be a 6. You were all waiting for me to see that, I'm sure. This must be a 1. This is not a 1. That means that this is also a 3 5. This X, well, that definitely can't be a 1, because that's never going to work. So that must be a 4. That must be a 1. So there's no 4 here. There must be 2 4s in these 2 rows. Oh, and there's a 4 placed here because of... oh, wait, no. There's a 4 in one of these 2 cells, right? There's a 4 in one of these 2 cells, and there's a 4 in one of these 2 cells because there's nowhere else to put them in the rows. So there is no 4 here. Which is not as useful as I'd hoped, but it's fine. V in row 2. Got it. This is either a 6... or it's a double 3. Don't think we know which one. But we can green some stuff and green all of this, and we can green this cell in all the other grids. Just notice that this is now interesting because now this arrow seems very suspicious. We never looked at this. This is probably interesting, actually. This cell has to be at least, has to be greater than 8. It's got to be 5 or 6, right? Because... right, so we can ignore the doubling. Right, okay, that's the good way to think about it. We can ignore the doubling because they're both doubled by this, they're both multiplied by the same factor, 2. So we just ignore that doubling, and, wait. That's not how math works. No, it is. It is. If we have 2x equals this digit plus 2y, we can move the 2y over, pull out the 2, and then we just have x minus y equals this digit. So we can definitely do that. So we don't actually have to think about the doubling at all. So if this was a 1, this would be 2 either way. Yeah. So there's no way this could be a 3, so it's a 1 or a 2. If it was a 2, this would have to be 4 and 6. And let's just confirm this. So this is 8 plus 2 is... wait, that doesn't work. Is that not how math works? It's either 2 or 4. Oh, I need to divide by 2. Right, of course, of course. I've pulled the 2 out, but I've left it there. I need to divide by 2. Right, 2 or 4. Right. I was thinking about the result of the division already, but I needed to think about the actual number. Right. Sorry. It's still very hot, of course. That's always my excuse. There's also a 6 down here. We do have a 4 or 5 on here, so this is also a 5 or 6. And this actually is a 1 or 2. Which means that we have a 5-6 pair in here. So on this line, we can't... Oh, wait. Could do double 1 plus 3, for example, and that would be 5. And that would be fine. I'm just trying to think, could this... Oh, could this be a doubling cell? Only if it's a 1, and this is 4 and 6 exactly. I see a useful digit in row 1 of the XV. Oh, 2. 2. Where does 2 go? This 2 sees that cell, and this is not a 2, and that's not a 2. So this must be a 2. So there's no 2 down here. So this is a 5-6 pair, which gives us a 3 here. That's very beautiful. So this is a 1, because that's the only place for 1 in the column. This is going to be a... Oh, that's a 6 now, because there's a 3 here. So this is a 5, and it's a doubler, because we can't make the 6 the doubler there. Otherwise, this would be 12 plus 4, and that's not 10. And green these, we can green that one, that one, that one. We also know that there's no 6 in these 2 cells. So that means that in this row, the 6 must go exactly here. Sorry, 6. That's a 5, that's a 5, that's a 2. 2 and 3 go in, 3 goes in, 1 goes in, 1 goes in, 4 goes in. This is going to have to be a 6, and this is a 4. This is going to be a 2, and this is a 3-5 pair, I guess. So this is a 1-6 pair, which is resolved. This is a 3 and a 4. Oh, this 5, of course. I was like, how are we going to resolve this 3-5 pair, which is already resolved? Anyways, we know that the 1 is doubled in this thing, this V. So we know that we have all the doublers in this puzzle, and the puzzle is done. Puzzle dance. First puzzle done. Can add some greens to the other grids. There's too many greens to add. I'm getting confused now. Green, green, and green. Green, green, that's already green, that's already green. Okay, there's no greens to add to this one. We already added that one, right? 1/6 of the way done, yeah. I really thought it was gonna be like the arrow or the Durham Whisper that we finished first, or even the Kropke maybe, but no, it was the XV. Which is cool. Wondering, does this cell have to be doubled? Because these are all, I guess these are not doubled. So that's not actually that interesting. Although, do we know that this cell is not doubled? No, actually we don't. Because this could just be a doubled 1. Or it could be a doubled 2. No, doubled 2 would go with 2, of course. Doubled 1 would go with a 4. So that could be actually the case. Okay, so maybe we look back at what puzzle is more interesting now? Is there any puzzle more interesting now? Not that I don't want to do this puzzle. I mean, which puzzle within this puzzle is more interesting? Well, I guess this cell can't be a 6, right? You always set easy puzzles. Okay. I don't know if that's true, but okay. So if this is a 5 and it's a true non-double value, can we make that work? Well, these minimum sum to 3, and these minimum sum to 3. So these can't sum to 3, otherwise this would be too high. This would be 3 plus 3. So this has to sum to at least 4, but this could be 4 and 1, and then 2 plus 3. I think that might actually work. So 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2. Oh, sorry, the other way around. 1, 2. Oh, that doesn't work for a weird reason with this. Huh. Because that... Maybe it does work. I don't like this anyway. I don't think this is how we're supposed to do this. Three cells. Yeah, I think it barely works. I think it might break the 6 arrow, but it's not very clean, so I'm just gonna leave it. Let's look at, maybe we'll look at the killer. He stares blankly with no idea what's going on. If there is a double value in here, or in here, how are we gonna make that work? Let's say it's a double 1. That's gonna be 2. So we need the other 2 cells to add to 5 without using, so it would be 1, 2, 3. Which seems fine. If we double the 2, that's going to be 4. And that's not going to work because we need to add... Oh, no, wait. Yeah, we need to add 3 more to that. And we can't do 1 and 2 because that would repeat the 2. So the only way this works with a doubler is 1, 2, 3. And the only way it works with a non-doubler is 1, 2, 4. So there is 1, 2, and... There is 1, 2 in here, and... There's either a 3 or a 4. Row 6, column 2. See, we were looking at that, and saying that 5 barely works, but it might break something up here, but maybe it doesn't, and we're not too sure. But maybe we should look more carefully because... Is there an easy way to see this? So, is there a reason why this couldn't be a 5? Why can't this one be 1, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1? What's wrong with that? Oh, that? No. Places 1 here, places 2 here, places 3 here. I don't know, I don't think that breaks, does it? Okay, that's the only configuration that works. Well, then it doesn't break. So, oh, it does. Oh, wait. Oh, that does break this arrow. So let's look at this. This arrow can't be 1, so it definitely can't have a 5. So it's definitely a 2, 4. But then there's no 2 here, but there's also no 2 here because this will be a 2 because there has to be a 2 on the 6 arrow. So that's not going to work, but it's kind of gross. It's really not Zeta style, yeah. It does break, but I feel like it's not good. It's not what I want to find. Let's save that. Let's save that in case we get stuck, but yeah, it's a 6x6 in, yeah. If this is doubler, oh, maybe we should use some disjoint set stuff, sort of thing. Like, is there anything? We're not that far in that we have that sort of idea yet, I don't think. We have this one. There's a doubler down here, right? And there's also a doubler down here. So if we got one more grid with a doubler down here, then that would be it for those cells. No worries. Catch you later, Ambrose. And I think Nell said be right back. So catch you later if you're not right back. Anyways, I think this cell is interesting because if it's a doubler, it's at least going to be a 3 because there's a 1, 2 in its column, right? And if there's a double 3 in here, there's a 6 in the 15 cage, which means these two have to add up to 9, which they can with 4 and 5. Just barely. I mean, well, if this is a 4 and it's doubled, then that's an 8, which means these two have to add up to 7, which is even easier. Oh, so maybe this is not where we're supposed to look. Dang it. A 10. A 3-cell 10 cage is probably my favorite cage in existence. I really like 3-cell 10 cages, but this is not a normal 3-cell 10 cage. It is a doubler 3-cell 10 cage, which I'm not sure how to deal with. Maybe we should think about... We got a couple more greens in this area. So... Oh, we got this 5 as a green. Oh, that means that there is a 1, 4 in here, which means that there is a 2 down here. Oh, cool. Okay, so there's a 2 down here, and this is a 1 or a 4. Okay, now, if this is 2... Okay, let's think about this, because we know that, as Ambrose said before, we can never get a 7. So we can't use consecutive dots to double, say, like a 5 or a 4 even, to have a consecutive sequence. We need to stay within the digits 1 to 6. I almost said 0 to 6. So 1 to 6. We have to stay between those digits. So we could use... I'm just thinking if there's a doubler on this consecutive thing, can we make it work? If there's 3, 5, and 4, you could double the 3. You could do 1, 1, 3, 4, and double the 1. A 1, 3, 4 doesn't work because that would make this no options. So the only way we put a doubler on here is if we do 1... No, sorry. 3, 5, and 4, right? Yeah, that's the only way to use a double here. which would put a 1 here and a 6 here. Whereas the other situation, well, this can't be a doubler. We know that, because if that's a doubler, it doesn't work with a 2. And if this is a doubler, then it is a 1. 1, 4, 2, so then this would have to be 3, 5, 6 without a doubler, and that doesn't work. So this can't be a doubler either, right? Yeah, I believe that now. This can't be a doubler because if it was a doubler, that would be 1. This would be a 4, and then we'd have 3, 5, and 6 left over in the box, but those are not consecutive. So the only way we make this work is with a 3 in a doubling cell, a 5 next to that 3, and then a 4 next to the 5, yeah. The 3 is doubled. So the 5 is always in the middle. This is always a 1, this is always a 6, this is always a 3, that's always a 1, that's always a 4. And we can green that cell, green these cells, because we're going to make this one brown. Oh, and now there's a doubler in one of these 2 cells, so that can't be the doubler, this must be the doubler. I don't know when that happened, but it did at some point, so we'll take it. I guess we had this and this, so these can't be doublers. Now we can go through and green that cell and that cell, green that cell and that cell, green that cell, which means that without any effort to prove this is not a 5, we get that it's a doubler. That's very nice. Because I don't want to actually use that. So now this is a doubler. Oh, and we also proved that this is not a doubler, which is good, because we were a little bit worried about that, because it seemed really easy to make it a doubler. Is there anything else we can do up here? I mean, we have, in here we have a 3, over here we have a 5, and then there's 2 and 6 in the other cells. So this is either a 2, 3, so there's no 2 on this side, or a 5, 6, so there's no 6 on this side. I guess there's a 4 in here, there's a 1 in here, and the other 2 cells are 2 and 6, and there's nothing we can do about them. I mean, there's no eliminations like there is here. There's a 1 down here, but there's a lot of like variation, because you could put a 1 with a doubler here and then have a 3 here, or you could do a 1 and a 2 here, or you could do a 1 and a 2 here, or you could do a 1 with a doubler. Oh, you can't do a 1 with a doubler and a 4 because that wouldn't work. Actually, wait. The only doubler black dot we determined was a 1 and a 4, right? So since there's a 4 looking at this, those can't be doublers. Ah, nice. Get rid of those, and we will go through and green that cell. Okay. White dot in box 6 will have a doubler. Oh, you're right. I don't know why I didn't green that cell. So the only option is 3, 5? Is that the only option? Well, in these 3 cells, there's 3, 5, and 6, right? So if we had a 6 in here, that wouldn't work. So yeah, right. That has to be 3 and 5 with a 6 over here. Yeah, that is how it works. So then up here we have 1, 2, and 4, I guess. So then what can go here? Well, like we said, we could do a 1 with a 3. We can't do a 6 anymore because there's a 6 down here. But a 6 here doesn't work anyway. A 5 doesn't work, a 4 doesn't work. A 3 or a 2 might work. So a 2 would be 4, so this could be either 3 or 5. A 3 would mean it's a 6, so that would have to be a 5. Just like down here. Okay, so that's all the options here. Actually, a 2 with a 3 doesn't work because that would mean that there's a 3 and a 6 down here, I think. Or a 3 and a 5. This is a 3. Yeah, that does work at a 5. That would put 5 and 6 down here. Although this interaction is really interesting, especially with this black dot here. Because this black dot, it can't be 3, 6 because there's a 3, 6 right here. And it can't include a 4. So doesn't it only have one option? Isn't it only 1, 2? 3, 6 doesn't work. 2, 4 doesn't work. There's only 3 versions, so it is a 1, 2. So that's a 3. That's a 5. This is a 6 and a 5. That's a 2 and a 3. Very nice. Very nice. So those aren't 2. Those aren't 6. This cell is either a 1, which seems very unlikely, or a 2, or a 3. Now, if it's a 1, then this has to be a... If it's a doubler, can it be a doubler? No, because the only doubler that would work would be 1 doubled to 2, which would mean this is to be a 2, and there can't be 2 2s in that column. So that's not a doubler, which means that this one is a doubler. Which means we can green that cell in a bunch of, well, only 2 grids. And actually that means that there's a doubler down here, so there's no doubler down here, there's no doubler down here. I don't see anything else. I was sort of looking at these sort of areas to see if I could see any sort of other things going on, but I don't think there is. But anyways, I was saying, could this be a 1? In row 4, perhaps. If this is 1, 2, then that would be a 3, right? So how can that be a 1? If that's a 1, it's broken, right? So yeah, you're right. So that's a 1, that's a 2. That's a 2, that's a 1. These 2 are not 2s. That's not a 1. If that is a 1, then what is this going to be? It can't be a 2 because there's a 2 in the column, and it can't be a doubled 1 because there's a 1 in the column. So this is not a 1, that's a 3. So this cell has to be either a doubled 1 or a 4. So it's a 1 or 4, which is creating a 1, 4 pair. This is a 5, that's going to be a 6. That's a 4, so that's a 2. And that's another 1, 4 pair. That's a 3 now, so that is the doubling cell, which means that this is the doubling cell, so that's going to be a 1. A 1 here, a 4 here, a 4 here, a 1 there, 2 there, and then this one and this one we need to mark in the other grids before we forget. So that cell and that cell. That cell's already gone, so that cell's already gone, so that cell. Right, okay. Now these 2 cells are a 4 and a 2. I almost said 5. So that's a 4 because there's a 2 here, so that's a 2. That's a 4 and that's a 6. This is a 6 and that's a 5. And I'm not sure why there was a white dot here. I don't know. I didn't use it. But maybe it was useful for something else. There's a doubler in here now. And the same thing is true over here. So these 2 cells are not doublers. And in fact, we could have done that before. We just forgot to use this. Yeah, fair enough. I just wasn't sure was just wondering, like, what is the other path that would use that? Because I'm not sure how to utilize it, but maybe I could have done more in this box earlier. There's doublers in these two columns already, so that one is not a doubler. Otherwise, we'd have two doublers here. So that must be a doubler. So we can fill in that cell and that cell as being not doubler. I wonder how many times I've said doubler. Probably at least twice. So this is not a doubler now. Good to know. We've done our second board, so we're almost there. I really don't want to come back to this general listers because it feels like it's really unconstrained. I'm gonna take a sip of water here because we finished one of the puzzles. Hello, SPQ. Welcome. Let's focus on this cell. What is the lowest that this cell can be? It can't be a 2 for sure. It could probably be a 3. So 3, 4, or 5, I think. I don't think that's that exciting. What about this one? Again, I don't think that can be a 2, but it could be a 3 if we did one, double 1. Double 1, 4? No, that would break this cell. I don't know if we can make this a 3. I don't see how that could be a 3. So I'm pretty sure this is 4, 5, or 6. Although 4 is also really interesting because if we did a 4, then we couldn't use a 1 or a 2 in these two cells because this would be a 2 and this would be a 1. So in these two cells, we would have a minimum value of 3, and 5, which is already 8. Ah, so this can't be a 4. So now we have a 5, 6 pair in this box, which is kind of unexpected. Or sorry, not unexpected, but expected. The opposite. Because I didn't really expect to see 5 or 6 on the line. My eye is doing a weird thing. Okay, so maybe we should focus on, could this be 5? Because we've had success with 3 and 4. If it's a 5, these are minimum 3, maximum 7. I don't really think that's interesting at all. Okay, so the other thing I noticed is that there's a 6 down here, because there's no 6 up here. So if there's a 6 down here, and that 6 is not in this cell, then it has to be here, which means the minimum of these two is double 1, which would be 8, which would be double 4. These doubling things is not really helping with the arrows, honestly. It's kind of like making it very unconstrained. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, I guess. You can mark that up. Oh, what if the 5 or 6 in this box that isn't already labeled went here instead of here? That's a good question. So then these cells would be a minimum of 5 plus 3 is 8. No, we can't do these as 3 because there's a 1, 2 in the box. Yes, exactly. 2 SPQ. Yes, exactly. The only thing connecting them is that there is sort of like a weird disjoint set thing on doubler cells. So if these are 1 and 3, that's 4 plus 5 is 9, which is actually just too low. We could do 3 and 4 with a 5, and that would be 12, and that would be fine, right? So I don't think that this cell is very restricted. I think it could it be 6? If it's 6, then this is 5, so these have to add to 4, which they easily can with 1 and 3. 6, 1, 3, 1, or 2, then this would be a 4, right? And 4 only goes with 4 and 6, right? Isn't that true? 4 plus 8 versus 4 plus 10. 4 plus 10 is not going to work. So 4 plus 8 is obviously going to be a 12. So I don't think this actually can be a 6, but that's not actually that interesting. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it was a 6, then we would get a 4 here, which would require this to be a 6 as well, is the thing I was looking at. But we probably don't even need to do that. We should just look elsewhere because there's probably something interesting, like right here, where there's a doubler in one of these two cells. So we have to have double 1 plus 2, 3. So we can get rid of a 1 there. We can get rid of our corner marks, actually. And we know there's a double 1 in one of these two cells. So then these 3 cells are going to be 4, 5, and 6. I don't know if that's very helpful. Yeah, I don't know if that's very helpful. Maybe we should think about... Oh, the dotted circles. I marked these two cells as being the same, and then Penpa decided that it didn't like that I closed the panel, so it wouldn't let me access the panel again to erase them or add more. Oh, this one being not 6? Is helpful? Actually, wait. What's the maximum these can be? These can be maximum 7, right? So this is minimum of 3. Because if this was minimized, it'd be 10. 10 plus 10 minus 7 is 3. So this is minimum 3. So this is actually only 3, 4, or 5. I feel like I keep using some property of these two that I haven't quite understood. The 4, 5, and 6 in this. Is it the 15? If this is a 6, these two need to add to 9. This is a 4, these two need to add to 11. I was trying to think about there if this could be a doubler cell in either of those cases, and I think it could be in either case, because you could do 6, 2, 5, for example, and that would work. Because 2 doubled is 4 plus 5 is 10. Or sorry, is 9. 9 plus 6 is 15. So I don't know if that's really what we're looking at. Could be the 11, perhaps. Maybe not. Not sure. We know that this cell is the same cell as that one. We definitely can't put a 2 here. But I don't know, could we put a 3 there? 6? No, we can't. So this is only 4 or 5, isn't it? Because if we put a 3 here, we need a 1 on here at least. Or at the highest, we could have a 1. So this is 4 or 5. 4 would be 8, which could have either 2 or 3, which is a little bit annoying. These 3 equal 15. That is true. But I didn't really want to use... Oh, wait. I think I might understand what you're saying. So, the question is, can we get to the total of 15 in these 3 cells without using a doubler cell? Now that there is a 4, 5, or 6 here, not in this cage. Well, if we used it, no doubler cell, right? Then we would add 4, 5, and 6 to get 15. But that would rule out this cell, so we must use a doubler cell. Right, sorry, I don't know why that was hard to grasp for me, but it's simple now. So there are no doubler cells in any of these cells, which means there's a doubler cell here, which means there's a doubler cell there. I can't even speak. But we can get rid of those cells in these puzzles. I think that's all of them. Now we can brown that, brown that, brown that. I think we can't really use any of these placements to rule anything out from the other puzzles, though. We do have a doubler cell on a Ren band now. We have 2, actually. So that might be a useful thing. We have a doubler cell in the 6 cage, which is interesting. Because the 6 cage, if you double the 2, you'd have to use another 2. So you can only double the 1, can't you? Because if you double the 3, it's already 6. So it is double 1. And double 1 is 2, so that means you have to put a 4 with it. So there is no 4 in that cell. Now, this 1 in this box has 2 options. It's either in the 11 cage, which means that these 2 cells would have to add to 9. Or it's not in the 11 cage at all, which means that this one will be at least 4, because double 2. So these would have to add to 7 without using a 1 or a 2. So they would have to be 3 and 4, which is possible. Although it would have to be in this order, 3 and 4. Yeah, it's almost done. So I think this is either 1 or 2, because 3 would mean these have to add to 5, and they couldn't use a 3, and they couldn't use a 1 because the 1 would be here and in here. So I think we're either going to go 2 with 3, 4, or 1 with 2 cells adding to 9. So that would either be 3, 6, or 4, 5. I'm not sure if we have much on the order of those, though. People on Discord were yelling at you to look at certain things. Maybe looking at the Ren bands, perhaps? The dashed 1, 6 circles are just, they're the same digit. I was marking the same digit, and then I closed the panel, and Tempa didn't like that. It wanted me to keep the panel open, so it had a little bit of a tantrum. And now we can't erase these. Oh. What did we get? We didn't get anything, did we? Like, nothing in this puzzle was affected. Oh, this is a 4 or 5, right? If it's a 5, this still can't be a 6. Ah, okay, so this is a 1. This is a 6. This is a 6. This is a 1. Right, okay. We could have done that ages ago. So that's a 6 and that's a 1. And now we can pencil mark that there's a 1 in one of these two cells and one of these two cells. We pencil mark that there's a 6 in one of these two cells and a 6 in one of these two cells. If this was a 6, then we'd have the same problem up here. This would be a maximum of 5, but 10 is not 5 away from 6. Why did we not see this earlier? This is so obvious. So that's a 6, which means that this is a 6, which means these are completely unrestricted. Great. So what does that do? That does nothing. Okay, cool. If this was a doubler cell, its minimum value would be 2, which could get 5 away from, or sorry, 4 could get 5 away from 10, but not 5 away from 8. Okay, I don't know how useful these 1s and 6s actually were. But we did them. They are done now. Maybe we should look at this 15 cage, because if this is a 3 or any larger, then this is going to be at least 10, so this would be a 5. Oh, that actually does work, huh? Yay! Yes, I got another grid, yes. A while ago. And I haven't got all that much progress since then. So this could be a 3. Could it be a 4? If it's a 4, it's 8. 8 plus 5 is already 13, which means this is a 2. Oh my word, that actually works. Oh my god, even 5 works. 5 plus is 10 plus 4 plus 1. Wow, okay then. But this has to be 5 or less. Because if we minimize this... Oh no, wait, sorry, we could do 2 or 1. Never mind. Could be a lot of things. So we don't actually care about this. It's not very interesting. Okay, what about this cell? This cell is doubled and it is in a 10 gauge. I mean, it's a little bit interesting. If it was a 3, then these two cells would have to add to 4, which would be 1 and 3, which doesn't work. Okay, so I don't know why I thought that would work, but so it's either 1 or 2, which means there's either a 1 or a 2 or both in here. I don't think there can be both, can there? Can there be both in the 15 cage? 4 plus 6, no, there can't be. So if this is 1, then these add to 8, of which there are 2 options, 3, 5, or 2, 6. If this is a 2, these two add to 6, of which there is only 1 option, which is 1 and 5 here. So not great. Although we do know now that there's a 4 up here somehow, we know that. What else do we know? We know that there's always a 1 in this cage, don't we? Because either this is a 1, or the 2 has a 1, 5. So there is always a 1. So there's a 1 up here. Now, if this 10 cage does not have a 1, it must be 2, 3, 5. Should make that a 1. And that either a 4 or a 6. I think I have to go now for a little while, but that is okay. Just 1 second. Hello. I return. Oh my word, I'm so sorry. That was so long. Hello. Welcome. Welcome back to you guys. All right. We probably won't have as much time today as I had hoped, but we can at least finish this puzzle. I believe in that. Woo! Okay, so gonna be a little bit thrown off here because I took a break. What were we looking at before? We were looking at this, weren't we? If this is not one something, then it's gonna be 2, 3, 5, which would give us a 1 here. Hmm. Oh, this could also have a 1 in it and be doubled. And be 2, 3, 5 as well. But then have a 1 in it and not a 2, so this would be a 2 then. So is 1, 2, and 3 always in these cells? Is that... If there's a 1 here, and it's not doubled, this has to be 9. Oh, it could be 4 or 5, couldn't it? Yeah, 4 or 5 would work. So maybe it's the Renban. Could it be the Renban that we're supposed to focus on? So these digits which are doubled on the Renban, we know can only be from 1, 2, or 3, because if we doubled 4, we would be 8, and 8 is not going to work with the Renban because you can't ever have a 7. What about this cell? If this cell is a doubler as well, you did it too now? I didn't really read. Oh, you can change your name on YouTube. Oh, nice. That is very helpful. Okay, so if this is 2 doublers, then either it's going to be, so 2 and 4. Oh, I did not mean to put I there. 2 and 4, as in 1 and 2, would require 3 here, and that would actually work. So annoying. Okay, so maybe we focus on this one, because this one is pretty simple. If this is 1, which represents 2, then this is going to be 3, 4, because it can't have 1. If this is 2, which represents 4, then this has to be, it can't be 2, 3, could be 3, 5, or it could be 4, 5, 6. And if this is 3, which represents 6, this is either gonna, this has to be 4, 5. I'm not sure about that because I want to say if this always had a 5 on it, it would be very helpful to know that. Oh wait, this is still within the range 1 to 6, isn't it? So we can still say that there must be a 5 on here. Oh wait, wait, this is not 1 to 9. If there are 5 digits, then there has to be 2, 3, 4, and 5 on here. Although these digits see all of these digits. That's interesting. So we have these 4 digits, one of which could be a doubler, which see all 3 of these digits. But the only digit we can exclude from this 5 cell thing is a 1 or a 6. On which Renban, sorry? The 4 cell Renban? Yeah, I definitely need a 2 anyway. What about these 3 digits? These 3 digits are either the 1 or 6 that's missing from this 5 cell Renban, or they are the digits in here. But this one right here can't be either of these. So doesn't that have to be a 1 or 6? If it was a 4, say, and then we used a 2 here as a doubling cell to make the 4, then we wouldn't have a 2 on the rest of the line, which wouldn't work. Since this cell sees the entirety of the line, if it's a doubler, it can't have its own digit. But could it be a 2 here and then a 1 here as a doubler? No, because, no, it could be. Couldn't it be? I think it could be. Yeah, there can't be. I don't think there can be 2 1s on the length 5 Renban, because this cell, which is the doubler, is the only one which could repeat a digit, and that one sees all the other cells, so you can't actually repeat anything on there. I feel like a 2 here with a 1 here that is doubled would actually work. Annoyingly enough. But the 2 here would require this to be 3, 4, 5 exactly, which means these cells couldn't be 3, 4, 5, 2, or 1, so they would both have to be 6. So that wouldn't actually work. So I think this is actually a 1 or 6. Oh wow, even the profile picture change from Niverio. Now if this is 6, it's obviously not doubled. So it is a 6. So these cells would have to be 5, 4, and 3, which means these 3 cells would have to be from 1 and 2. Yeah, and that doesn't work either, right? Yeah, so this is not a 6, it's a 1. And again, if we did 2, 3, 4 here, then these 3 cells would have to be from 5 and 6. These 3 cells would have to be from 5 and 6. So that means that in this set of 3 digits, there is a 1, and this cell is a doubler. Finally. That's not a doubler. That's not a doubler. So that is a doubler, so that is not a doubler. So that's not a doubler, so this is a doubler, so that's not a doubler, so that's not a doubler. So that is not a doubler. And now we have all of the doublers. And I can stop saying doubler. Oh. That was This was quite a brain melting experience. This one right here. That's funny. That's really funny that she was suspicious before even reading the rules. Oh, these two. Oh, and these two. So I was saying before that this could be a 2 on here, and it could be a 3, I think. But it can't be a 4. Oh, no, wait. 3 would be 6, which would... 3 can't go next to 10. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So this is only 2, isn't it? Which means this could be either one, but this is definitely a 2, right? Really interesting. I did not notice it at all, to be honest. That 2 places a 2 here, which means this has to be at least a 4, right? Because 3 would be 6, and that's not far enough away. So that's 4 or 5. There's no 2 in here. So there definitely is a 3 in here. I don't see what else that does. But we can look at the other German whisper pair and realize that there can't be a 6 on it, so it has to be a 2 with a 4 or 5. Yeah, the rectangular regions do some cool roping stuff. Now, if that's a 2, then one of these two is a 2, and that's a 2. Whereas if this is a 2, then one of these two is a 2, and that one's a 2, and that one's a 2. So there's definitely a 2 in one of these two cells for sure. And a 2 in one of these two cells. And a 2 in one of these 3 cells. 2 cannot work next to the non-doubler. That is absolutely true, because if you had double 2, that would be 4, and this can't be anything, really. So that's a 2, and that is the worst option, I guess. That places a 2 here and here. Oh wait, there's a 2 up here, so we don't have a 2 here, obviously. So that's a 2, and that's a 1, which places a 1 here. No, it's not the worst option. I thought it was the worst option, but it's not. It's definitely not. So if that can't be a 5 for obvious reasons, so there is a 5 up here, so there's not a 5 there. If that's a 4, that needs to be a 5. Well, duh. Okay, well, 4 or 5 here, which means that this is a 3 then. Which could be either next to a 4 or a 5. This is a 4, 5, though. This is 3, 4, 5, I guess. It's another 3, 4, 5. Another 3, 4, 5. Another 3, 4, 5. A 4, 5. And another 3, 4, 5. Oh no. That is so annoying. There's definitely a 3 in here, so there's no 3 there. This is the same 4, 5 as that one. Does that tell us anything? No, not really. Although that's the same 4, 5 as that one. Which is over here. No, that's not really interesting. Okay, so what resolves this? Because something has to, right? Something has to resolve this. I'm just not seeing it. If this is 8, That does work here. Oh, 8 is not 5 away from 4, which this is. It's not a 2, it's a 4. So both of these are going to be 5s. Duh. So this is a 5, and that's a 5. That's a 4, that's a 4. Oh no. Oh no, this is a real 2. Oh my word. That's a 5, that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 4. Let's just clean up a little bit. I feel like I'm missing something super obvious now. Oh, I got rid of 4 there when I had to get rid of 5 in all of those places. Whoopsie. Right, that's not a 5, which makes that a 4, that a 3, that a 3, that a 5. Now we get all of this stuff. And that's another grid done. Yeah, basic subtraction was the thing I'm missing. Are there any red cells in puzzle 5? What do you mean red? These are brown. Okay, so now we should be able to do everything, because we have all the doublers, so we should be able to finish every single grid. Yeah, they are brown. Halfway there, yay. So there's no 1 on this entire line, and it doesn't have a doubler, so it must be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And both of these cells are in here, so neither of these can be 2s. The 2 doublers on... Oh, these 2? Yeah, for sure. Oh, wait, we should just do this. This has a 3 and a 4 on it, right? And a 1, because the 1 acts as the 2 here. So these are not 3 or 4. So this is not 3 or 4. This is a 5, 6. This is a 2. These are not 2 or 5 or 6. This can't be a 3 because that would be another 6 on here. So it has to be a 2. That's another 3, 4 over here, which means that this is a 3 or 4. And a 4 can't be a doubler on a line, so that's a 3. That can't be a 3 now. And in fact, has to be a 2 because a 1 would be a 2, but this is a 6. So this is 4, 6, so this has to be 5. This 2 puts a 2 right here. Oh, this 3 obviously resolves that those are 1 and 4. And then that is a 3. And that this is a 4, which places a 4 here and a 1, 3 pair here. And this has to be 1 or 6, and these have to be 1, 5, or 6. So now this line so I can see it could be 5, 4, 6, but I'm struggling to see any other options. 1, 2, 3, or anything with 3 doesn't work. So I think this is the only option, right? So this is 5, 4, 6. The 5 goes up here. The 6 over here tells us that this is a 6. This is a 2 then. That has to be a 1, which resolves this 1, 3 pair, and we actually have the 5, 6 pair that we didn't resolve before. That is resolved. The 6 is placed right here. This is a 3 and a 1, which somehow we can't do. But the 4 here resolves that this is a 4 and this is a 1, which resolves that this is a 1 and this is a 3. That's a 3 and that's a 4. That's a 6. That's a 6. That's a 4. This 1 resolves that this is a 1 and this is a 5. That's a 6. That's a 5. And this is going to be a 2 and a 3. And we just lightninged through the Renvan puzzle. Now what? There is a 1 or 2 in here. So if the 1 or 2 is here, well, this is doubled, right? So these two have to add to an odd number. I don't know if that's very interesting, but oh, there's no doubler in here now. Oh, in fact, this is a 1, because we know that the 1 is doubled in here. Maybe we should just do some easy stuff. So that is not a 1, which means that this is a 2, 3, 5. And this has to be a 4, therefore. This has to be a 6, therefore. This is going to be a 2, 3, 5, or 6, I guess. I guess that was useless. I'll come to that cell in a second. Oh, actually, I'll do that right now. This has to be a 1 because everything else would be broken. Therefore, that's a 4, that's a 1, that's a 5, that's a 4. This 5 tells us that this has to be a 2. That's 10 plus 2 is 12. These can't be 2s. That is a 1. So that is not a 1. And this is a 6. No, 5. I can't read. That's a 6, which means that these add to 12. That's not a 2. These are not 1s, of course. Row 6, column 5 can't be 2. Wouldn't that be 2, 1, 5, 3, 6? Isn't that fine? We'll come back to that in a second. 12 arrows maxed. I figured that. And the max is 5 plus 7. So that's a 2. This has to be a 3 or 4. That's a 5, 6 pair, which is resolved. This is a 2, 3 pair, which is resolved. So that's not a 3. So these two cells are 2 and 3. This cell is 4, 5. This is 1, 4, 5. This is going to be 6 and 1, 4. Yeah, I was going to say 5, but that's not right. So there is a 6 on here. So 6 plus 3 we have so far. So that's 9. So we're either going to 9 or sorry, we're either going to 10 with a 1, or we're going to 9 plus 4 is 13. 13 is definitely not going to work, so it has to be 10, which means that this is a 5. And this is a 1, 6. That's a 4. That's a 1. That's a 3, 4 pair, which is probably going to get resolved eventually. This is a 5 just by Sudoku. This is a 6. So these two cells have to add up to 4. So this is either a 2 or a 1. Oh, this 6 tells us that that's a 1. So that's a 6, which tells us that this is a 1. So this is a 3. This is a 2. This 3 gives us a 3 up here, which means that this is a 2. And this is a 4, which is going to resolve everything. Oh, this 2, 3 pair was fixed long ago, which probably resolved everything before, but whatever. Fair enough. I do like that as well, to leave like some unresolved things. So now what? now we have to think about, oh, this can't be 3 or 5. So what was this 11 cage doing? So either it's 2, which was very specific. It was 3 and 4, right? Because it's 4 plus 7, and the only way it doesn't make 7 without 1 or 2 is with 3 and 4, and the 3 would have to go up here because the 2 would get rid of, would place the 3 here. So that's no longer an option. So this now has to be a 1. Which means these two add to 9. Because this is now 2. So this is not 4 or 6. And that does something, I guess. There's a 4 over here, which means that the 4 in this box is not in any of these cells, so it must be right there. Which gives us a 5 here, a 6 here, a 4, 6, or a 4, 5 pair here. This digit is known, it's a 6. So these two digits are 5 and 2 or 3, so that's a 5. That's a 2 or 3. This is 6, 2 or 3. This is 2, 3, or 4. Oh, but we know that the 4 is not here, so that is a 4. This is 1, 2, or 3. This is also 2, 3, 5. Okay, so I think we have to look at this 15 cage and think if this is a 6. If that's a 6, then the other two digits add up to 9. Which could be 5 and 2 only. So that's an option. If this is not 6, row 5, column 1 is not 1. Because if it was a 1, then this would be 2, so these would have to add to 13, which they can't. That's right, so this is a 1, which means that this is a 2, and this is completely forced. That's a 1, and that's a 5, which means this is a 3. This is a 6. These are not 3s. This is not 2, so that's a 2. And that's a 5. This is 2, 3, which isn't resolved somehow. This is 4 and 6, which isn't resolved somehow. That's not a 2, so there is a 2 in here, but it could be in the doubling cell or it could not be. How low? Yeah, we got that. If that is a 2, then that's 4. So the other two cells would have to add to 11, which could be 5 and 6, of course. If it's 3, then it adds to 6, which means the other two cells have to add to 9, which they can't because this is a 4, 5, and this would have to be a 4, 5 as well. So that is a 2. And there's an easier sort of way of seeing that because this is a if this had no doubling, so it would be 4, 5, 6 triple. But since this one would be the 6 in that case, it would represent the 6. Then you can't make it a 4, 5, 6 triple because we have this 4, 5 down here. So that's 2, that's 3, that's 3, that's 2. This 2 has to go with a 5 and a 6. We already talked about that. That has to be a 4. That has to be a 3, of course. And I think we're almost done here. Yes! How long did that take? Oh, I opened this way before. So that actually, it says, the timer says 13 hours. So I don't think that's true. But we could probably calculate it if we wanted to, but how long is the stream going for? 2 hours and 40 minutes, and we spent about 40 minutes on break. So it's about 2 hours time, which is exactly what I estimated. Yeah, add 13 hours to the spreadsheet, please. Now, I would do other puzzles if we didn't have a long break and if I didn't have to stand watching someone repair my fridge for 40 minutes. Uh, but it's pretty hot here, and it's lunchtime, which are two factors in which I kind of want to end here. So I think I'm going to end here. But I should say before I go to like the stream and subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, and also, if you want to comment, that would also be helpful. I don't think I have any real comments on my entire channel yet. I only have bots commenting like, please go to this website to see naked singles. Thanks for coming out, everyone. I really enjoyed this puzzle, and I'm really happy that this came out of a setting stream. I mean, that's why we do these things, yeah. So that we inspire other people and have lots of fun solving their puzzles, because you can't solve your own puzzle. Thanks everyone for coming out, and have a good rest of your day.